March is Women's History Month and also my birth month. So what better way to celebrate than by reading books by women, about women, loving women. That's right, guys. We are reading Sapphic books in this vlog. I have my lesbian blanket here in celebration. So I'm using Women's History Month as an excuse to do a Sapphic reading vlog. And I honestly could not be more happy. I have two books picked out for this video. I have a feeling that both of these are going to be slow burn, yearning type vibes. Also, only realized right now, but they're both set in the 1900s, so that's kind of fun too. I've picked out the top two books on my Sapphic Reads physical TBR. The first book I'm planning on reading in this video is Breaking from Frame by Jazz Forrester. In this, we are following our main character, Claire, who is struggling to play the part of a housewife, basically, when she meets her new neighbor, Jacqueline, who is an unmarried photographer. Everything starts to change for Claire. She's drawn to Jacqueline and she wants to embrace this new friendship that's forming. But her gossipy small town and what she knows as the right way to act as a woman are impeding this forming friendship. Claire begins having to battle this longing that she's feeling towards Jacqueline while also trying to avoid the gossips in her small town. She starts to question everything and ultimately, a decision has to be made. Does she stick to what she knows is right, or does she follow her heart? I'm so excited for this book. I loved Jazz Forrester's debut, Shifting Gears. If you haven't read it, read it. And I will likely fly through this. It's less than 300 pages, and I just found Jazz Forrester's writing like addicting in Shifting Gears. So I'm hoping that this one's gonna fly by as well. I'm gonna start this one tonight, I think. So I will update when I manage to get a little bit into this. The second book that I'm going to read in this video is The Paying Guests by Sarah Waters. This book is set post-World War I. A widow named Mrs. Ray and her unmarried daughter, Frances, find themselves obligated to take in lodgers. A young couple arrives named Lillian and Leonard, and Frances finds herself drawn to Lillian. I'm thinking that this is gonna be similar vibes to Breaking from Frame, but the end of the synopsis on this also says, as she and Lillian are drawn into an unexpected friendship, loyalties begin to shift, secrets are confessed, dangerous desires admitted, a love story that is also a suspense-filled crime story, and a beautifully atmospheric portrait of a fascinating time and place. I'm super excited for this. I have never heard anybody talk about this book before, but I'm so intrigued. I really like the vibes of this like Sapphic yearning when everyone was like supposed to have a husband. I know that's not like chill or cool, but I like reading about it in stories now. So yeah, that is book number 2. I will be reading this one after I read Breaking from Frame. I wanted to start off with a smaller book. I just need a short one right now. I'm still kind of like exhausted from Priory of the Orange Tree. I'm not even gonna lie. You will hear more from me when I've gotten myself into Breaking from Frame a little bit. Hopefully I will be able to make a good dent in it tonight. I am 64% of the way through Breaking from Frame. I have about 90 pages left now, and up to this point, I am really liking it. It is a very different vibe than Shifting Gears. Shifting Gears was like a more traditional romance. It's a big city girl moves to a small town and falls in love with a local. This is much more leaning fiction than romance. Like, it's really a self-discovery story. The word lesbian literally has not come up once. Queer was used one time talking about another character. So we're opening up the doors for that conversation, but they have not talked about a woman being gay in this yet. Obviously, it's very clear that it's coming, but where I am right now in the book, it hasn't even crossed our main character's mind. We have Claire and her husband Pete living in this neighborhood called Acacia Circle. They don't have any kids, but Pete wants them to get pregnant. When we're in Claire's mind, she actually doesn't want kids at all, but it's her wifely duty. So, you know, luckily for her, they haven't gotten pregnant yet after trying for quite some time. Jacqueline, or Jackie, moves in next door. She does not have a husband. She does not have any kids. And she doesn't have a partner in any respect, like no fiance or anything. Claire has become completely enraptured by Jackie. It starts off as kind of seeming like, okay, she's obviously very different. She's not a traditional woman in the sense of what it means in this time period, 1969. But as we get further into the book, Claire is noticing that she is very beautiful and also hot and sexy when she sees her in her bikini. And yet still, there hasn't been any discussion of like, oh, I'm like romantically interested in her, because it literally has not even crossed her mind that that may be the case. I'm ready. I mean, it's gonna happen anytime now. And I'm really excited. I really like their friendship so far. Like, they are really good friends right now. And I really like their friendship and their dynamic. So I'm excited to see how this progresses. And I also hope that it's not incredibly sad or something. I mean, there's gonna be some tough discussions, I'm sure, but I'm excited to see where it goes. Sorry, my camera died. I'm trying to finish recording this before the sun goes down. It is a bit jarring, some of the stuff that we hear side characters say, like the racist, homophobic, misogynistic comments. That is a bit much, but also I feel it's accurate for the time. And although there is a lot of blatant discrimination, Claire seems to be able to look at things with an open mind after she meets Jackie. And I really do like her character. Like, Jackie has friends that are people of color and publicly queer, and Claire meets them and is like, well, if they're friends with Jackie, then they must be all right. It just says a lot about her character when all of the other side characters are seeing Jackie with these people and they're like scandalized because they can't believe that she's being seen with these people and is okay with hanging out with them and wants to. Another thing about Claire is that it seems like she's having some identity issues. I've thought about this before, how difficult it must have been for people having identity or gender struggles like pre-21st century. It's obviously no walk in the park now still. However, I feel as though there's communities and organizations that can act as support systems for people now, whereas back then I feel like it was just extremely, extremely lonely and isolating and scary. People probably felt like they had no one to turn to. If you told anybody about how you were feeling, they were probably just like, you're going to hell. We're gonna pray for you. Like anybody female at birth, you better get your ass in a skirt ASAP. And if you wear pants, you're going to hell, girl. You're going to hell. I just like that we see that aspect in this story. And I really love how Jackie helps Claire. Like, she's just so good. Like, they're just such good friends. But we do want more. And we're gonna get more, I think. I am gonna keep reading. I might actually finish this tonight, honestly. I have 7 chapters left, I think. Yeah, I have 7 chapters left. So I might actually finish it tonight. Who knows? I will update you as soon as I'm done. drinking from frame. The last sentence made me cry. I always like to sit on my rating for a little bit before I like publish my reviews on all my book apps. I'm thinking it's probably like 3.75 or a 4. The main things I liked, I loved Jackie and Claire as characters. I love reading about people discovering their true self, their sexual identity, their gender identity. I think I would have given this a higher rating if we saw a little bit more of Claire's journey with that. We do see it to a certain extent, obviously. She has a husband at the beginning of the book and obviously realizes she is developing feelings towards a woman. We don't go super into depth on it though. It is overall a romance book, so it's really about Claire coming to terms with her identity, but as she's already in love with Jackie. That is what makes her come to terms with her identity, because she's like, why am I obsessed with this woman? I like everything that was included though. Like I wouldn't have wanted anything included in that book taken out. I just would have liked for it to be longer, honestly, and more meat to it, which that is actually a complaint, not a complaint. That is actually a qualm I had with Shifting Gears by Jazz Forrester as well. When I was done, I was like, I don't think I can give this a 5 stars because like I wanted more of them. Like I wanted to see the FMC and love interest. I wanted more into their lives. Like I was foaming at the mouth for it. I did end up giving that book a 5 stars because I couldn't stop thinking about them. But in this case, I think I just wanted to see more emotion surrounding Claire's self-discovery and more into her head. It's just such a shock knowing one thing your whole life and being told that like this is the way you're supposed to be. And then one day you realize that's not the case. Like Jackie comes into the picture in this and Claire's like, wait, I actually don't need a husband? I thought we were all like doing this. Just that, the shock that comes along with that, being like, I actually don't need to do this, and realizing that you want something else, I feel like I like those conversations and I would have loved to see more of that. But this was still a really good book. Like I love Jazz Forrester, I do. I'm not obsessed with this cover. I understand the vibe of it, like it's kind of vintagey looking, but overall, a great Sapphic romance. If you want to watch women yearn for each other, pick this up, girl. Jazz Forrester publishes under this indie publisher. It's called Ylva Publishing, YLVA, and I'm starting to think I need to pick up more books from these guys. They publish exclusively Sapphic stories. This is from their website. They're an independent Sapphic romance publisher specializing in WLW romance and women-loving women fiction. Oh, they also have just fiction stories. I didn't realize that. I thought they were like all romance. We publish lesbian romance, bisexual romance, and queer romance by LGBTQ+ authors from around the world. So that's really cool. They have a website and you can like go through all everything they have, and you can buy ebooks, I believe. Oh, and audiobooks. What the hell? You can go on their website and browse all the books that they've published or books that are coming soon. And I've loved both of Jazz Forrester's books so much. I'm like, maybe I should explore more authors from this publishing company. Okay, so first book was a success. Now I am going to start The Paying Guests by Sarah Waters. I'm gonna go for a little walk, I think, to get some fresh air because it's sunny out now. It's still a little bit cold. I think it's like 0, but I need to get some fresh air. I need to move my body a little. So I'm gonna just like walk, I don't know how far, we'll see. I might start the audiobook for The Paying Guests. I saw that it's on Spotify. I have like a few hours left, so maybe I'll start it on my walk. And I will update you guys when I have some initial thoughts. Okay. It's a few days later and I wanted to update you guys on where I'm at in The Paying Guests. So I'm only about 15% of the way in, but I really like how the story's playing out right now. So we start out in chapter 1 and this couple, Lillian and Leonard, are moving into the Ray's house. Pretty soon after they move in, we realize that Leonard is like a creep. And we also see Frances realize that Leonard and Lillian's relationship is not as strong and stable as they make it out to be. I also wasn't sure going into this how the Sapphic aspect of the storyline was gonna play out. This is taking place in the 1920s-ish. So being gay or anything other than straight was very much a taboo and not spoken about for the most part. Pretty much right off the bat, we see Frances go to a friend's house, and this friend has a long-term roommate. It's blatantly giving, like, we're kissing, right? So, love that, honestly. And Frances is still friends with them, and she thinks they're like a little bit weird and quirky and unique, but it doesn't stop her from being friends with them. So to me, it kind of comes off like she's kind of curious of their relationship, and like she knows that they're not just roommates. I feel like she knows that subconsciously. If she's not gonna address it like in her brain, I feel like she knows it subconsciously. I was worried because sometimes with historical fiction, I find it difficult to get really absorbed in the story. I think sometimes the language and even just their way of life, like it seems very mundane and boring to me. So I kind of have a difficult time being really interested in what's going on. But honestly, I have been really liking this and not having a hard time at all, actually. I think probably a lot of that is due to the fact that I'm like, okay, Frances and Lillian need to have some more interactions, like let's go. That's definitely playing a part in it, but I am also now very interested in this friend that Frances has and her like partner. And I'm also very interested to see where the story goes with Leonard. Overall, I'm really liking it so far, and I'm honestly a little bit surprised because it is a dense book. It's like almost 600 pages, I think, which can be intimidating sometimes, especially when it's a historical fiction book. But really liking it so far. I know I'm not that far in, but I will update you again, hopefully very soon. Okay, I was just doing dishes and I just remembered one more thing that I wanted to say. I have been listening to the audiobook a little bit on Spotify, just like here and there. And one thing that is irking me a little bit, the narrator for the audiobook, it's just one woman and she's gotta be like at least 60, which that's fine. And there's some older characters in the book, but our main character, Frances, is supposed to be like 25, I think, like 24 or 25. So that's throwing me off a little bit. I am like trying to picture Frances in my head, but I can just picture like an older woman with gray hair. And it's, again, it's fine when she's like narrating stuff that the mother is saying because she actually is elderly, I think. But yeah, it's throwing me off a little bit for Frances and just the younger characters in general. That is one thing. But then when I switch to actually reading it physically, it's fine. If that's something that bothers you though, when the narrator of an audiobook is blatantly very much so younger or older than the character that they're voicing, maybe don't listen to the audiobook for this story. I do find it very engaging just to read it physically though, so not a big deal. Hopefully be back soon when I'm like at least 40% into the book. Okay, guys, I am 50% of the way through the paying guests now, and this book is like so good. I'm kind of obsessed with it. The synopsis is pretty straightforward, like a widow and her daughter take in lodgers. They're paying to live there. The wife out of the couple and the daughter of the widow, Frances, begin to form a relationship that's like a friendship at first and then turns into something more. It's very character driven, like it's basically just following their relationship and like how they're navigating it when it's obviously a big no-no for like so many reasons. But something I wasn't expecting is there is like full-on spice scenes in this, which loving it. Loving it. Like, I am eating it up. I really like Frances, our main character. I just feel like she's very lovable. We actually find out that she has previously been in a relationship with a woman and her parents found out, and obviously that ended. But that is not stopping her from pursuing Lillian. Yeah, there's really nothing else like plot-wise for me to tell you about it. It's very character driven, just following all the different relationship dynamics. But I'm really liking it. And the narrator of the audiobook, like, that has grown on me a bit now. It threw me off a little bit at the beginning. I'm used to it now. And I'm still like flying through it. Like when I sit down and read it physically, I'm eating it up. Like it's so good. And I don't know how I've never heard anybody recommend this book before. Like I feel like I will be recommending this to people looking for like a Sapphic read so much once I'm done. If this keeps going as good as it's going. I will probably just update you now when I'm finished with final thoughts. Hello. Okay. I finished The Paying Guests. I come bearing a review. I finished it this morning before I went to work. I literally just got back from work, still in my scrubs. And I think that I'm gonna settle on a 3.5. I wanna explain where it kind of fell flat for me. This book is split up into 3 parts. The first part is about Leonard and Lillian moving in to the house with Frances and her mother. In the first chapter, they're like literally pulling up to the house. We see the dynamic kind of fall into place of what the house is going to be like now that these lodgers are staying there. In part 2, we kind of see Lillian and Frances on the verge of like friendship and a romantic relationship. At the end of part 2, something horrific happens and Lillian and Frances are kind of involved. And then in part 3, it takes a huge turn and the tone completely switches and suddenly it's like anxiety and paranoia and worrying about this crime and how this crime is going to affect everyone's lives. So part 1 and 2, I was like so enraptured in this story because Frances and Lillian are acting kind of weird around each other and they keep blushing around each other. Frances is like, is she blushing? And she's kind of questioning, like, does this girl like me? Like, what's happening right now? Besides that, they do end up building a friendship and kind of start hanging out with each other, spending more time together. You can tell that there's very much yearning though. I loved the yearning aspect of it. And then once it did become more than just being friends, the fact that they were like sneaking around this house, trying to be with each other, just sneaking around in general, trying to keep it from Frances's mother and Lillian's husband, was so absorbing. And I was just like waiting to see if they got caught. I could not stop reading. The atmosphere of those 2 parts of the book was female yearning, it was falling in love, it was being in love, and just having dreams for the future. Like, it was really beautiful and a little bit sad because you're like, are you guys actually gonna be able to live this life that you want? Then when we get into part 3, after this horrific thing happens, Frances and Lillian end up being separated, so they're not seeing as much of each other, and this horrific event has really put a damper on things. The switch up of being like so completely in love to them not acting like they were in love at all was a little bit like jarring and I missed it a lot. However, the crime aspect in part 3 of the story I thought was really well done and still very captivating, but the end was just way too unsatisfying for me. It felt a little too wrapped up in a perfect little bow, and I was just hoping for more from it. So that's why I settled on a 3.5. I think part 1 and 2, I was like, this is gonna be like 4 stars, maybe 4.5, depending on how it ends. That being said, I am still very happy that I read this, and I really liked Sarah Waters' writing, so now I feel more inclined to read the other books from her that I've heard of and like been recommended. Fingersmith by her and Tipping the Velvet, I think it's called. I have the audiobook for Fingersmith, like on some app that I bought it on. And I tried to start it like last summer, I feel like, and couldn't get into it because I did not like the narrator. But maybe I have to go back to it. Or maybe I should just buy the physical book and do like a tandem read listen thing. Overall, I am very happy with this video. I'm glad that I used Women's History Month as an excuse to read Sapphic books. I had a great time, honestly. Breaking from Frame was amazing. Love Jess Forrester so much. I ended up giving that one 4 stars, and The Paying Guests was also a really fun read, and 3.5 stars is not a bad rating. I had fun. I'm glad I read it, and I only paid like $4 for it because I bought it at Value Village. Pammy and I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will see you in the next one.